Welcome to the Sheridan Report, brought to you by MYBookie.AG. I am your co-host for the Sheridan Report, brought to you by MYBookie.AG, Mike Goodbasser. Right now, I'd like to welcome in Bobby Sheridan. How you doing, Bobby?
Mike, I'm doing great. Everything going good there?
I forgot to bring up, we're live from the NCAA tournament, which I'm sure we'll start talking more about tomorrow and the day after. But let's talk a little bit NBA. We'll start off tonight. What are your top plays for tonight, Bobby?
You know, Mike, we got a top NBA play and a top college play, so let's go over the NBA first, since that's what you asked. This is an interesting game tonight. A very interesting game I think the fans will like to hear about. The Sixers are going to Charlotte tonight, and we have two teams going in opposite directions. But Philadelphia threw a little wrench into this, which I anticipated. The Sixers are going to play without Joel Embiid tonight. Load management. He's come back into the lineup, and they're 4-0 in the last 4 games. Now, here's the deal. Charlotte, we know, is going the way opposite direction. They've lost maybe 13 of the last 18. They had their biggest game the other night playing against the Miami Heat. They went into the fourth quarter with the game in the balance and shot 3 for 18 and 0 for 8 from 3, which was a culmination of they're just not getting it done. They're going to play 2 more games on this homestand and then go on a road trip. That's going to include the Western Conference, and they're doomed. So the bottom line is I think they're done. Philadelphia is, you know, they have an opportunity to go out there tonight. They're playing Charlotte, and this is a good game to play without Embiid because Charlotte doesn't have a big post presence. They're a 3-shooting team, a dribble drive team with their guards and Walker in particular. And I think a little bit more athletic lineup may actually do fine for them. And the announcement came out way early enough for the line to adjust, and it opened up a pick 'em. And Philadelphia is now a point favorite. So I think the professionals agree with me. I think Philadelphia is going to get the job done here. They're trying to hold on to that 3 spot. And the 3 spot is huge. And why is it huge? Because then they'll play Milwaukee, who's consensus the best team in the East. So they'll play Milwaukee in the semis and not have – I mean –
No, if they're the 3 seed, they'll play Toronto. Milwaukee's the number 1 seed, yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was getting to. I just said that wrong. Yeah, they'll play Toronto, and then that will save Milwaukee for the 4 spots, which would be Boston or Indiana. So bottom line is Philadelphia gets it done. They move up 2 games into the 3rd spot, and you know, with a cushion, and they'll play a good game tonight on the road. They'll get the W.
All right, Bobby. Anything else NBA wise tonight you want people to look out for?
Yeah, I wanted to look out for the Sacramento Kings. This is another interesting deal here. The Kings are playing now for pride. The Western Conference really separated itself in terms of who's going to make the playoffs. Now it's just about seeding. And the Kings picked a bad time to go 3-7, but we called that. We said a couple weeks ago on the show that the Sacramento Kings have never been here. They're young players that have never played into their 65th and 70th game, and that the schedule didn't look great, that this really wasn't their time. And we were right. And so now we get down to they just come off of a nice win over the Bulls. Now we come down to reading things about them. We want to finish 500. We want to finish this out. You know, we want to get, next year's our year. You know, they're young players, have a lot of pride. And tonight they have another young team coming in, the Nets. And I think this is just a game about, you know what, let's just get into this game and win this ball game tonight. Those 2 teams are going to scrap tonight. And
I think those are two teams of the future in the NBA too, if they make the right moves over the next year or 2.
Absolutely, Mike. That's what I'm getting to. So I think the Sacramento guys have gotten a couple players back, and Sacramento plays 10 guys over 20 minutes a game. So don't worry about anything. They're going to go out there. They're going to play free and loose at home, and they should get this win tonight, Mike. And I thought the line was fair. It's down to 3.5. It opened 4. It's down to 3.5. And people are looking at the Eastern Conference playoff team coming into the non-playoff team. But these are teams that are very even, and the home court is going to mean everything in this ballgame tonight. That's a tough place to play, and Sacramento will get the job done tonight.
All right. What do you got college basketball-wise? I know you get your eye on at least one NIT game.
Yes, I do. I've got my eye on 2 games. I'm going to give out the free play first and not talk much about it. It's San Diego going to Memphis. I'm going to talk about both kind of tied in together. In my experience handicapping the NIT first round specifically, okay, first-round home teams are about a 70% play, okay? Now you say, well, why are you taking San Diego? They're at Memphis. Well, because what's more important than that is who wants to be there? Who do you handicap has been anticipating wanting to be there, winning this game, winning this tournament, I should say, and I've got to take between these two games I'm going to give you tonight. And my take is Memphis wants nothing to do with being there. And the top play of the whole card is Colorado, and they want everything about being there. And
yeah, plus that's a long trip. That's a long trip for Dayton to go all the way to Colorado and play, a couple days after they lost in the conference tournament.
Mike, you just nailed it on the head. That's a slam dunk right there. Colorado's an extremely tough place to play. They took care of all the teams in the Pac-12 there. They finished strong. They just won 5 of their last 6. They beat teams that were playing good basketball at the end of the year, teams like USC, UCLA, Oregon State. Okay, they took Washington, who's in the NCAA. They took them to within 5. They took them to the last minute in the Pac-12 tournament. They were a dangerous team in that tournament, and they showed it. Now they're playing at home. They're motivated. They're going to blow Dayton out of the building tonight, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think this, Bobby, I think this is a game, if Colorado was coming all the way to Dayton, I would probably favor Dayton.
I agree. I think you would have to favor Dayton a little bit in that game. It would probably be a no play for me. I think Dayton is really disappointed to be in that tournament, and I think Colorado's excited. I think Colorado's one of the teams that could win the NIT. So, in my opinion, the 70% will be in our favor tonight. Now, in the other game, the free play, and the line is indicating this. It opened 7 and it's down to 6.5. Memphis is going to slug through that game tonight and be lucky to win. That's my opinion. So we're going to go with San Diego and Colorado as the 2 NIT plays.
All right. Not touching the NCAA tournament tonight?
No, nothing with the NCAA tonight. I'll have a couple plays tomorrow. It's looking like. And then, of course, Thursday, Friday, we open up the first round. And you're there in Dayton, Mike, and I'll be watching a couple ball games from San Jose. So that'll be kind of fun.
Yeah, we'll be all over this here at thegruelingtruth.net. I want to remind everybody, you can go to @Sheridan Report, and yes, we will have on this day here in a minute, but you can go to @Sheridan Report, or you can go to thesheridanreport.com, $10 a day for Bobby's sheet, $50 for the month, but also, once you get that, hop over to gruelingtruth.net, click on that MYBookie.AG banner. That will take you there for a promo code of 50% off up to $2,000 you put in, which means if you put $2,000 in, you'll get another $1,000. You'll have $3,000. And yesterday, it took me a while to explain that to Risley before he understood it, but he seemed excited about it, Bobby. So,
that's good.
So make sure you check out MYBookie.AG. If you just go directly to their site, we are promo code LEGEND Legend. All right, Bobby, what do you got for on this day?
On this day, Mike, this is a pretty big day in NBA history, because its greatest player, Michael Jordan, arguably the greatest player, in 1995. This was when he played his first game back after the first retirement, the big retirement when he went and played baseball and
when he lost all that money to them bookies, and then the NBA suspended him for a year and a half because when his dad got killed. Is that what you're talking about?
That's what I'm talking about, Mike. He came back this day in '95 after 17 months off, and he played pretty close to you. Why don't you explain?
He didn't play close to me because I'd have dropped more than 19 on the Pacers that day. But he scored 19 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists. The thing I remember about that is, if you remember, Bobby, he wore number 45 because his number 23 had been retired by the Bulls in a ceremony or something. But, of course, when he wasn't playing as well, they decided to unretire it and give it back to him. I think that year they lost to the Orlando Magic in the conference semifinals. And then the Magic went on to talk about the Pacers, or to beat the Pacers, who we're talking about in 7 games. 93, 94, 94, 95, Scottie Pippen got a chance to be the man in 94. Didn't work out too good, but this team made some changes from the 93 to 94 season, added Luke Longley. They had a Tony Kukoc. They were still a good team. They pushed the Knicks to 7 games, but the only reason they pushed the Knicks to 7 games, and a lot of people forget this, was Derek Harper got, 4 flagrant fouls, got suspended in Game 2, and he was suspended for, I think, Games 3, 4, and 5. which allowed the Bulls to be able to stay in this series. And, of course, the big moment was Game 3 at the Chicago Stadium. The Bulls are down 2-0. Tony Kukoc hits a shot at the buzzer, but the bigger story there was Scottie Pippen refusing to play the game or play the last few seconds of the game because the shot wasn't drawn up for him. I'll never forget that, and lost a ton of respect for Scottie Pippen there. Also, with Pippen, if you remember the Game 7 in 1990, the Eastern Conference Final where they played the Detroit Pistons, and, of course, the migraine, he couldn't play, sat that game out. And a little comparison would be Kareem Abdul-Jabbar 1985 Finals, Game 2, with a headache and being 38 years old or 36 years old, dropping 38 points at the Boston Garden to help the Lakers even that series at 1. So those are the things I remember. And
now,
95
the
Magic.
Market Square Arena, right, Mike?
Yeah, it was at Market Square Arena. I know Risley was there. I remember watching the game. I wasn't there because I didn't have the jack Risley had, so I had to sit and watch it on my TV. But I was a huge Pacer fan back there. That's Reggie Miller. You know, there's a big rivalry. If you remember Miller and Jordan a few years before that got in a fight. So, yeah, I mean, it was a special day for the NBA with him coming back. And like I said, the Pacers ended up going farther than them because the Pacers then upset the Knicks in New York in Game 7 and then lost in 7 games to the Orlando Magic. And the Magic, of course, went on to lose to the Houston Rockets in a 4-game sweep when they had one of the biggest meltdowns in NBA history in Game 1, where I think it was Nick Anderson kept missing the free throws at the end of the game and allowed the Rockets to beat them. But that's what I got for on this day, Bobby.
That's right. Nick Anderson from Illinois, you know, who burned the Hoosiers with a 40-footer at the buzzer a couple of years prior to that, if I remember.
Yeah, correctly. I think that was in 1989 at Assembly Hall.
Oh, okay, yeah. So it was about 5 or 6 years earlier than that. Yeah, and you know, Mike. The other and
that was the, let's see, and Nick Anderson was part of the 89 Illinois. If you remember, 89 Illinois also made it to the Final Four and lost to Michigan in the Final Four when Michigan won it all by beating Seton Hall.
Right. I remember that, and this Bulls team, you know, the next year set off on their next three-peat. They had their next three-peat there, started in '96 and ended. But
the thing that's always been interesting to me is this: if Jordan doesn't retire, who wins a series between those Rockets and those Bulls? Because the Rockets would have gave them major problems. I mean, Robert Horry was in his prime there, and he was a hell of a defender, hell of a player, and you look at Hakeem Olajuwon, the Bulls, I don't know, since Bob Love, haven't had anybody in their history that could even come close to guarding him.
No, that's true. There's no doubt there. That would have been a great series. That might have been their toughest finals matchup out of all 6. I think that might have been the toughest one.
I think it would have been. Actually, I think when you look at it overall, their toughest was probably 93, and that's not because that Suns team was was any better than the Jazz teams or the it was the Sonics they played in 93. Or no, wait. Yeah, it was the Suns. Suns in 93 because 96 was the Sonics. But that Suns team in 93, I think that was the worst of those Bulls teams because I think guys like that weren't playing as well that year. I think 93 and 98 were the 2 years where Jordan really had to put that team on his back and carry him to the finish line.
Yeah, good stuff, Mike. I agree with you.
But, all right, Bobby. We're going to wrap it up. We're going to try to do this tomorrow, but at the same time, if there's too much background noise, we apologize. But we are, I did get to hang out with like Chris Mullen and Grant Hill today and Steve Smith for about 10 minutes at midcourt.
Hey, good stuff, Mike.
So I sent a picture to my son to impress him.
Yeah, it doesn't get better than Chris Mullen from the outside shot, that's for sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get a little bit loud.
Enjoy the ball game.
Kill the listeners' ears. All right, guys, remember MyBookie.AG up to a $1,000 cash bonus. You click on the MyBookie.AG at the top of the GrillingTruth.net webpage. Make sure you check out the Sheridan Report at Sheridan Report. And also, you can hear all of our shows on Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, TuneIn, Spreaker, Stitcher, and 137 other places where you can hear sports podcasts. So for Bobby Sheridan, I'm Mike Goodpaster. You've been listening to The Grueling Truth, where the legends speak.